Welcome back to the second segment of today's edition of Sports Check, where we shall be talking about football development in the country, which is basically also the state of football in the country, which is we're going to be discussing and commending those who have been taking the front seat in promoting football in the country, and also the Kenya Premier League, that is the FKF Premier League, as well as looking at the CAF Champions League, in which Vihiga Queens are representing Kenya in Egypt. And to discuss that, of course, starting with the football development bit, to discuss that is sports journalist and analyst Greg Mulemi. Really, apologies, I said, yeah, Greg Mulemi. And also in studio, Bramwell Karamoja, who is one of the stakeholders when it comes to promoting football, and he does that through the Karamoja Super Cup. He is a former footballer, and he shall be telling us more about that as we discuss what we have been doing as a country in promoting football among our youths, our youngsters, and also the senior teams. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us here in studio.
Thank you.
And maybe if you allow me, we can start with you, Bramwell. Mm-hmm. You can just, before we get into all the the details about football in Kenya, maybe you can tell us about the Karamoja Super Cup, really, and what inspired you to start it, found it.
Thank you so much, Munga. My name is Bramwell Karamoja, a former footballer. I've played in the National Super League for Ngara Youth Pelico. I've played in the Kenyan Premier League for Gor Mahia FC. That was in 2006 up until 2019, before I went to Dubai to look for a proper job, because basically at that time football was not paying. Football doesn't still pay until now. So I had pressure from my family to look for a proper job to sustain me. So I went to Dubai, but while in Dubai, I got a job, but that is not what I wanted to do, because all my life I've known football. I've played football from a very tender age. So while in Dubai, I just told myself, like, no, I have to go back in Kenya and try and do what I like. So I stayed in Dubai for 8 years until we started an initiative called Jaza Study Initiative, which basically is all about trying to bring back the fans to the stadium to support their teams whenever they're playing. It beats logic when you go to the bars, to the clubs here. The bar is full. People are watching Man U versus Arsenal. But if you go to Kasarani, Kariobangi Sharks versus Tusker, you hardly find 100 people. Sports is the only industry that until now I've never understood. When there was COVID, they said that we need to have social distancing. We've been having that for more than a decade now. So we came up with a few friends of ours and decided, we need to change this narrative. We need to bring back people in the stadium. That is when we started the Jaza Study Initiative. So that is what brought me back in the country. So while at it, I looked around and said, I was organizing tournaments abroad. I was organizing an African football extravaganza in Dubai. So I said, I can replicate that in Kenya, because I had started partnering with the international brands. So I said, if I come back and do that here, I think I can become someone. Yeah, so that is how I started organizing tournaments, and that is how the Karamoja Super Cup started. Yeah. Okay,
Greg, really, you've been even commentating, besides analyzing, you've been commentating football in the country for a while now. And can you say, besides the COVID-19 period, whereby stadia were banned, you could not access stadia as spectators, but can you say that culture of actually going to the stadium to watch matches, can you say that we are actually doing well at it? Because what he said is actually true, that you'll find entertainment joints filled with people watching an international game, but where is the energy when it comes to local leagues? Is that the case?
What Bram is saying is very true. I remember when Jaza Study officially launched, it was at Camp Toyoyo. Kariobangi Sharks versus Wazito.
Yes.
I think that was the match. And it really rained on that day, but you could see what people really wanted. The stadium was full. I think the game ended 2-1 in favor of 4-0 in favor of Sharks. Yeah, and Kapaito, that's when we started knowing Kapaito. And that shows you that people really want to watch soccer. And I can always tell you that we've marketed our soccer very poorly, and it's really affecting the game. You can see a decade ago, Sofapaka versus FC Leopards could draw up to 10,000 fans, but right now barely 200 people go watch that match. Gor Mahia is playing Kenya Police at Kasarani last weekend, and barely 1,000 people are attending the match. So it shows you that we've really deteriorated in terms of how we market our game, bringing fans back to the stadium. I remember when Tusker was sponsoring the Kenya Premier League, then they really did a lot in marketing, and you could see there was a change. That's what we are missing. There's a very, very big link between the league and the fans. We only depend on social media updates.
Okay. Now the next question is posed to the both of you. Maybe Greg, you can continue, and then Bramwell will tell us that later. Will tell us his take on that, because we've been talking about promoting football, the uptake of football amongst fans going to the stadium. But do you think it's time we changed our strategy a bit? Because recently we've had basically more than 50% of the matches being played around maybe Nairobi and its environs, whereby we used to expect that people will at least, as you say, 10,000 people will attend a Gor Mahia match at Kasarani or Nyayo or even Toyoyo or Ruaraka where Tusker plays. But then again, do you think we are concentrating too much on Nairobi, when I think actually outside of Nairobi most people are actually watching local football than in Nairobi? You remember, first of all, this last weekend when the stadium ban was lifted, there was a game, was it Kakamega
Homeboys Stadium?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you could actually see guys actually came out to watch that match. So is it that we are concentrating, or we keep talking about football in Nairobi, since is that the case really? Should we be more open to actually evaluating how football fans are appreciating the game outside of Nairobi in the counties?
Definitely, and it all boils down to whatever we want heading forward. You look at, let's say, Nairobi has a lot of teams playing in the FKF Premier League, and most of these teams are, some of them are very corporate teams who, after all, fans are not an issue to them. But you find that most of these community clubs come from up country. Look at Kakamega Homeboys, look at the likes of the Zukericho, Vihiga Bullets, for that matter. These are teams that are associated with the society, and when they do that, people have a feeling of what they want from the team. They demand to watch the team. They feel that they are part of the team, and that's what we are missing in Nairobi. In Nairobi, everyone, like, if I want to watch football, I can always do some other things. For marketing purposes, I think that's where these clubs have actually gone wrong totally, because you look at there's a Division 1 club called Kibera United, and when they play Gogo United, it's full to capacity.
Exactly.
That should tell you that there is a very, very, very huge difference between how we market our game, how do we take it to the fans. And look at the likes of, when I was commentating the National Super League, that was 2 seasons ago, there was a derby between Kangemi United and Kibera Black Stars. That game used to be full. There's a day I did a post-match interview with the former Kibera Black Stars coach, that was Solo, who's now at KCB. The fans were almost killing me because they were demanding for answers, and we were live on TV, so you can feel that they associated themselves with the club. But look at the likes of FC Leopards, Gor Mahia. What remained of them? Banters and all that.
Okay, that is indeed true. And maybe you take on that, because what he said is true. Even NSL matches actually pull a bigger crowd than FKF Premier League matches. We had even the Super 8 League used to pull more.
Yes.
Exactly.
When the Stars played Kangemi.
The problems are we can't talk about the problems. I think for me it's about the structure. Greg has talked about most of the teams being in Nairobi. You find a team like Bandari plays a match in Nairobi today, goes back in Mombasa, comes back for another match. For me, I think our structure is wrong. There's a time, I normally have a program called Chapiane, which is a local football show. We discussed this, the marketing aspect, what can we do to change this? And I think the biggest letdown for me is the structure. The way the league is structured does not allow for teams. Long time ago, we had teams like Eldoret, KCC, we had the Motcoms, we had the Rivertex, the Alaskans. Where are they? So I think for me, the first thing we need to do, we need to reinvent the wheel. Get the structure right. Now we have the counties, it's even easier. Let every county produce a team. And we have 47 counties, right? You can't have a team from the 47 counties because you'll have a very big league. So other counties can merge. We have a county like Kiambu can merge with Nairobi.
Or you can have more tiers of football.
Yes. So once we merge, once we have football being played in counties, we'll have that rivalry. Can you imagine Kakamega County going to play Kisumu County in a Kenyan Premier League match at Buhungu Stadium? You'll have a capacity
Definitely
crowd.
full.
Nairobi County is playing Mombasa County in Mombasa. We'll have a capacity crowd. So for me, I think we have a problem with our structure. I don't know how we'll do it. In Brazil, I think it's played that way. The Brazilian league is played in provinces.
Regions, yeah.
In regions. So if we can adapt that, I think that can save the situation. Marketing is neither here nor there because everyone blames each other. The federation will blame the teams will blame the fans, so we'll never finish this conversation. We'll talk about marketing, I think, when we come to the segment when we'll be talking about the Karamoja Super Cup, and I'll tell you how we can channel it to the Premier League.
Okay, and something interesting you say, because we've talked about playing, having all these teams. Yes, we can have different tiers. We can have more tiers of football.
Yeah.
FKF Premier League can be on top, NSL. We can have more divisions. You know,
Yeah.
we all know how the promotion and relegation process works.
Yeah.
But then again, are we ready for that? Considering, you know, there are many issues here. Really, first of all, infrastructure, sports infrastructure.
You mean the stadium?
Exactly, that's what I mean. So where are we supposed to be playing this game?
We have stadium. We have stadia. You know this narrative of there's no infrastructure. We're in Africa. Yeah. I'll give you an example of a country like the USA. We have colleges that have better facilities than this country here. We can borrow that. We have schools that have very proper fields, even better than the Kamtoyoyos and the Ruarakas. If you go to Kakamega High School, they have 2 proper fields that you can play a Kenyan
Kisii
Premier
High
League
School.
match. Kisii High School. We have Musingu High School.
Brabant.
We have Kitale Day, St. Anthony's. You know, all those things we can't. There's no lack of structure. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just disorganized.
I was to add to that, do we really need stadiums? How big is Craven Cottage? How big is the Brighton
St. Mary's?
Yes. How big is St. Mary's?
Is it about the size or also the quality? Because
when you
let's be
talk
honest,
about
if we can't host even, let's say, continental matches or international matches, which is it's huge for development of football, because the more investment is pumped into the country whenever it hosts such a, an international showpiece, it also counts for that. So maybe are these stadiums quality? We do have
How many stadiums do we need?
Quality?
How many stadiums do we need to host an international match?
In the country?
In this country. I don't think we need more than 4 stadiums.
No, we don't need more.
We already have Kasarani. Just upgrade it. We already have Nyayo Stadium. Upgrade it. We have Kisumu right now. Is an international stadium
and
according
is coming up
to our standards.
Okay.
We have Buhungu Stadium. Those are already 4. What happened to Kipchoge in Eldoret? We don't know. But I'm talking about the Kenyan Premier League. I think the Kenyan Premier League in its current status can be played even in schools, because Camp Toyo is not any better. 2 seasons back, we were playing the Kenyan Premier League at Camp Toyo. No sitting, no nothing, no toilets. At least in schools, you're guaranteed that you'll get a toilet. Yeah. So I think we can work with the resources we have. This is what we have as we plan for better days in future. Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or do you think we try too much to, let's say, save face by, holding our matches in all this? We all know we can name them, kwa mkono, the number of. Do you think that we try so hard to save face?
Why are we trying to elevate ourselves to let's say a first class status when we are not even yet at the third phase? That's where the problem begins. We had games played at the Annex last season, and it was very, very brilliant. Guys were like, this place can actually work for us. And you can see, like on Saturday, Bidco was playing Mathare at the Annex, and inside the main stadium, Police was playing Gor Mahia. And each went concurrently well, simultaneously, without any problem. That shows you that when we plan well, it's talked about Kakamega High School. Why not have like the likes of Vihiga play there? Why are we forcing guys to play at Toyo, at Ruaraka? We witnessed the WPL Super Cup yesterday, Utali ground. It's already worn out. Why are we forcing our players to play there? 1, injuries. poor quality of football, poor production for TV and everyone else, proximity, all these things. When we don't look at them critically, then it becomes a problem. And I think that's why even the likes of Bram, when they come up, his tournament is played at Samitsi primary grounds. And I can see a lot of people go attend that tournament, and the pitch and the surface is very, 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 very good for football. Why are we complicating matters when we don't have the resources? That is the problem we have.
You're drinking champagne on a beer budget.
Oh, no.
It isn't it a conversation that requires a lot of time. And since we're talking about the development of football in the country, let's at least try to focus at the moment, because of time, at the moment, on the positives. For example, the CAF Champions League, whereby, it's the inaugural tournament, but from the word go, it's something we've seen that our women in football are performing quite exemplary, if we are being honest. Vihiga Queens played its first match in the CAF Women's Champions League, beating Mamelodi Sundowns. I think we can talk about that, but just a bit, if my producer can kindly play us the highlights of that. Vihiga Queens, or rather we can just have a view as we discuss this, really. Vihiga Queens versus Mamelodi Sundowns, just against Mamelodi Sundowns. Hopefully they recover in the next game today. As we had in the qualifiers, Vihiga Queens actually fell in the first game against CBE of Ethiopia, but then again ended up winning, actually beating them in the final. So let's hope it's the same scenario with the CAF Women's Champions League. Now, in the same breath, since it's all about, I did realize that the interest really, not only in, among the viewers, even you guys are concentrating so much on the development of football amongst women, which brings me to a question I had for you, Bramwell. Yeah. Since you're talking so passionately about that in the development of women's football, but in the Karamoja, I said Carabao, the Karamoja Super Cup, of course, the tournament, is it like so many other tournaments whereby we say we are holding tournaments to promote football, but then again we only have boys competitions in that, or do you practice what you preach?
I practice what I preach, and when we started the Karamoja Super Cup in 2019, that was our first edition, we were testing the waters. So we only focused on the men's side of the game. But in the second edition, which was last year, we had 8 women teams taking part. The winners were awarded, of course. Not only women football, we also had volleyball for women. And then now this year we are taking it now to the next level. We've increased the number of teams. The male will bring us 32 teams. The women will bring us half of that. So we are upgrading from 8. Now we are going to 16. And my vision for this tournament is to see women receiving the same prize money as their male counterparts. Because you see, in most competitions, the women are just given a thank you, goodbye. If there's any prize money, they're given 350,000 for 9 months after playing for 9 months. This year, we're trying to see if we can bridge that gap. Of course, we're still looking for more corporate sponsorship, but as of now, we're saying this, that as much as we want to promote the boy child, we can't forget about the girl child, because as I've told you, I think our women have higher chances of even playing in the World Cup before their male counterparts do. So my vision in the next 5 years is that if the prize money for the winning male team is 1 million shillings, the women will get the same amount as winners. So to answer your question, yes, we are promoting both the men and the women football in equal measure. Yeah.
Okay, and in that same spirit, Greg, of course, we were talking about the marketing of the game, but do you think we're doing enough at the moment to market women's football? We're just talking about initiatives that are supposed to improve women's football, but are we doing enough in terms of marketing? Because when most people hear, let's say, like what he has said about prize money being the same, which really also leans onto the whole debate of equal pay for both men and women, but then again you find that it's only the men's football that is marketed more. So do you think we've been taking, or rather we've been implementing enough strategies to actually market the women's game?
Not yet. I think we've done maybe 20% of what we're supposed to do, because you look at whatever we have at the moment, results and players reporting to camp. That's all we have. We don't have these things that will make us, like you asked me, how many players from Gaspo does one person know? Not really many. And it all boils down also to these teams themselves. What are they doing to ensure that they market their product very well? Ulinzi Starlets is a side that was started barely 2 years ago. And right now, everyone is talking about Ulinzi Starlets because of what they've put to ensure that they market themselves to the world. And you can see its bore fruits. Look at their performances, and that shows you that it also starts with the individuals themselves. How do you market yourself? You cannot say that you're a team and you don't even have a social media handle, or you don't even have a website that can update people on whatever is happening. Vihiga Queens, I wish them well in the Sekafa, because they are very, very brilliant side, very, very talented players. But then how do you launch a website 2 days to a tournament?
Okay, but in the same breath, really, to be a bit fair to them, from just saying,
these are four-time Kenya champions.
Yeah, just a thought. Yeah, we're talking about teams having their, launching their websites and updating them, but we have federations who have not updated their websites for the last 5 years.
That is what I told you, Munga, when we started, that we can't start throwing, we can't start tossing the coin around. What Greg is saying, right now social media is a very powerful tool. And if you come to the players individually, they can also market themselves individually. Look at the Harambee Stars players. You go to Kenneth Muguna's account, he's updated his workout today morning. He's updated his previous workout yesterday. What are our women doing? They're not doing anything. You go to social media, I only see Corazon, who is very Rachel Mwema. I see Akida, I see Nedi, and maybe Karimi. The rest are nowhere to be seen. So I think it's high time we need to start taking social media marketing as a very powerful tool, because you see nowadays mainstream media, I mean, it's still mainstream, but very many people are on their phones. That is why even a corporation like KBC has to be on YouTube, has to be on Facebook, has to be on Twitter, and has to be on Instagram, because nowadays people don't have time to watch TV, but they have time on their phones. People spend almost 60% of their time on social media than on mainstream media. So what we are saying is, let our women embrace technology, let them come up. We can promote them on our own handles. Greg has a good following on Facebook. I have a good following on Facebook. If you give me your account, I'll promote it. This in turn will turn maybe into customers, clients. There's so many people. Our ladies, we have very beautiful ladies in our women national team. We have products that can associate themselves with. If someone like Nedi sells Nivea to me, I'll drink it. I'll not even apply it on my body. I'll drink it. You see, so let's embrace technology. Let's start using social media, because it's a very powerful tool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, your 2 cents on in regards to that, and then we'll have Bramwell wind up with what we should expect at the Super Cup. But in regards to the marketing thing, your take on that, your 2 cents on that. Really.
First of all, I'll give FKF credit for ensuring that the league is consistent, it's organized. We saw a couple of games being absconded last season. I hope that will not happen this season. I think maybe they're planned better. And we've always said that maybe a step forward is what we need, not a stagnant step. And for the marketing purpose, I'll always challenge, because all we know, most of this information, if I need any information about a team or a club, rely on a set of fans who are really religiously following these teams, and that's not how it should be. So they should market themselves better, ensure that they give us what we need to consume, instead of this hula baloos and sarcasm that we always see on social media about these players and everything. When you do the right thing, the right things will always come to you.
Okay. Now to Bramwell, in less than a minute, kindly. What do we expect? And you've had your say on the marketing issue. So now, in less than a minute, what do we expect from this year's Karamoja Super Cup?
We had a very successful launch last weekend, 30th of October. The amount of people who've shown support has been growing by the day. As I've told you, we've increased the number of teams to 32 this year, and the male, that's the men football. Then the women football has gone up to 16. We have volleyball, both for men and women. We normally have also, this year we're going to have bullfighting. for the first time. We are trying to incorporate.
Kakamega, right?
Maybe we should have an eating competition since it's in Luyaland. But the stakes are higher this time. Of course, the prize money is going to double up from last year. We're still trying to talk to a few partners here and there to see where they can try and bridge the gap. But I can only tell people to expect a better tournament, a well-organized tournament, and a very big crowd this year, because last year we had crowds of between 10 to 15,000 at Samitsi grounds. I'm sure this year it's going to be bigger and better. So people should clear up their diaries, their calendars. The finals are going to be held on the 28th of December, which will be, I think, on a Tuesday at Samitsi grounds, Malava constituency, Kakamega County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bramwell Karamoja, and of course, Greg Mulemi. Always a pleasure. It's always good, of course, sitting and having conversations with people who are interested in the well-being of Kenyan sports, be it football, volleyball, rugby, either of them. And obviously, most of the sports leadership has called on to Kenyans really to give their opinions in regards to how sports is run in this country. So we are hoping that that's going to be a trend, and it's going to be the first step in changing and improving sports, the sports industry in the country. Well, that brings us to the end of today's edition of Sports Check. But don't go too far. Gladys Munga is coming up next with Kurunzi and Tamvrini. So do enjoy that. And well, I'm Richard Munga. Have a good day.